The 1970s, a decade when American muscle cars were dying, gas prices were soaring, and automotive innovation seemed to be grinding to a halt. Yet in this challenging era, one visionary California car dealer saw an opportunity that would challenge everything we thought we knew about American compact cars. What he created wouldn't just surprise the automotive world. It would rewrite the rules of what a compact car could be. Remember the Ford Pinto? Yes, that Pinto, the economy car that became synonymous with corporate controversy and safety concerns. But before all that, in 1970, it was simply Ford's answer to the import invasion, a humble $1,900 commuter car that nobody would ever mistake for a performance vehicle. Nobody, that is, except Jack Stratton, a man whose vision would transform this modest economy car into something extraordinary. For those of us who lived through the 70s, we remember how the muscle car era was fading fast. Insurance premiums were skyrocketing, with some young drivers paying more in insurance than they did for their cars. Emission standards were tightening by the day, choking the life out of once mighty V8s. The days of big block power seemed numbered, and Detroit was scrambling to adapt to this new reality. But while most dealers were lamenting the end of an era, Stratton, the general sales manager at Huntington Ford in California, was plotting a revolution. What Stratton saw in the Pinto was what most of us missed. A clean slate weighing just 2,000 pounds. To put that in perspective, it was lighter than a Chevrolet Vega and had a shorter wheelbase than the Ford Maverick. In automotive terms, it was a featherweight waiting to be transformed into a lightweight boxer. The 94-inch wheelbase might have seemed cramped by American standards, but to Stratton, it was perfect for creating a nimble handler that could compete with the best European sports cars. But Stratton knew that to be taken seriously, this grocery getter needed more than just a diet. It needed a complete makeover. The stock Pinto's appearance was about as exciting as a washing machine, and no amount of performance improvements would matter if the car looked like it belonged in a discount store parking lot. Enter Bob Crow, a fiberglass specialist who would help transform the Pinto's mundane appearance into something that would make Corvette owners do a double take. The transformation began with a complete redesign of the front end. The bland, upright grille and headlights were scrapped entirely, replaced with a sleek, aggressive shark nose design that extended the car's front end by a full 10 inches. Pop-up headlights, operated by a hand lever, gave the car a sophisticated European look. The fenders were slimmed down, creating a more angular, purposeful profile that completely changed the car's character. While the rear end, doors, and quarter panels remained stock to keep costs reasonable, the new front end made the Pinto Para look like it had rolled out of a European design studio rather than a Ford assembly line. The transformation wasn't just skin deep. Working with suspension experts at Coney, Stratton developed a handling package that would make this Pinto dance. Custom valved shocks were specifically tuned for the car's weight and intended performance envelope. A 2-inch drop brought the center of gravity down where it belonged, and 7-inch wide magnesium wheels wrapped in modern rubber gave the Para handling numbers that would embarrass a Porsche 914. In fact, the Para could pull 0.87 Gs on a skid pad, numbers that were unheard of for an American car in the early 70s, and would remain impressive even a decade later. But the real magic happened under the hood, and this is where Stratton's genius really showed. Instead of following the obvious route of shoehorning a V8 into the engine bay, a popular solution at the time that often resulted in nose-heavy cars with questionable handling, Stratton partnered with turbocharging pioneer A.K. Miller to develop something truly special. Miller's name carried serious weight in the performance world. He had been experimenting with turbocharging since the 1950s and understood the technology better than almost anyone in America. Together, they took the Pinto's modest 2.0-liter engine and transformed it through careful engineering. The stock engine, which struggled to produce 90 horsepower on its best day, was rebuilt with a lower 7-to-1 compression ratio to handle forced induction. An A-Research turbocharger was carefully integrated into the system, breathing through a specially modified 2-barrel carburetor. But perhaps most impressively, they incorporated a water injection system, technology usually reserved for aircraft and high-end race cars, to control detonation and keep temperatures in check. The result was 175 horsepower, nearly double the stock output, while maintaining full EPA compliance, a feat that even Chevrolet's factory-backed Yenko Turbo Vegas couldn't match. This wasn't just raw power, it was intelligent power, delivered in a way that complemented the car's lightweight chassis and improved suspension. The numbers told the story: 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds and quarter-mile times in the low 15s. For perspective, that meant this modified Pinto could outrun both the Datsun 240Z and Porsche 914 sports cars that cost significantly more and carried far more prestigious badges. Remember, this was an era when many former muscle cars were struggling to break into the 16s in the quarter mile due to emissions controls and lower compression ratios. Huntington Ford offered the Para in several ways, understanding that not everyone could afford or wanted a complete turnkey car. You could buy a fully assembled Para for around $5,000, not cheap for the time, but a bargain considering the performance and the hand-built nature of the modifications. This version came with special Recaro seats and a custom dashboard that set it apart from regular Pintos. For the do-it-yourself crowd, 3 separate kits were available. The front-end kit, which included the complete fiberglass nose assembly, would set you back $600 and could be ordered unpainted for additional savings. The suspension package, priced just shy of $1,000, included everything needed to transform the Pinto's handling. The Coney shocks, lowering springs, and sway bars. The crowning jewel, the turbo system, cost $1,691 and included everything from the turbocharger itself to the water injection system, exhaust manifold, and all necessary hardware. The beauty of this system was its flexibility. You could transform your Pinto into a Para gradually, as your budget allowed. The kits would work on both the standard Pinto and the wagon version, though the dealer-built cars had that special dashboard that couldn't be purchased separately. A small detail that would later help authenticate genuine dealer-built examples. Between 1972 and 1973, somewhere between 20 and 50 complete Paras were built at Huntington Ford, with perhaps another 100 cars modified using the various kits. Production numbers were never officially tracked, adding to the car's mystique. Today, only a handful survive, making them one of the rarest and most fascinating chapters in American automotive history. These cars represent something special, a moment when American ingenuity and engineering excellence came together to create something extraordinary from humble beginnings. The Pinto Para wasn't just a modified economy car. It was a statement about what was possible when someone dared to think differently about performance in an era of restrictions and limitations. So the next time you're at a car show and spot a Pinto that looks a bit different, perhaps with a sleek, shark-like nose and a stance that seems too purposeful for a simple economy car, take a closer look. You might just be looking at one of the most innovative American performance cars of the 1970s, a car that proved that with enough vision and engineering skill, even the humblest beginning could lead to something extraordinary. And the next time someone dismisses the Pinto as just another 1970s economy car, you can tell them about the time when a California dealer decided to turn Ford's humble commuter into a legitimate sports car killer. Because sometimes, the best stories in automotive history are the ones that almost got forgotten, the ones that remind us that innovation doesn't always come from the biggest names or the biggest budgets. Sometimes it comes from people who simply refuse to accept the limitations others see. In the end, the Pinto Para stands as a testament to American ingenuity and the spirit of hot rodding that has defined our automotive culture for generations. It reminds us that in the automotive world, as in life, it's not where you start that matters. It's where you end up, and how you get there.